The council requires a nurse who is registered overseas to complete a competence assessment before we can grant New Zealand registration. So if you hold current registration in the UK, in Ireland, in Ontario, in British Columbia, in Singapore, or the USA, your application will be assessed by the council and you may not be required to undertake the below examinations. Guys, hello beautiful people, it's your girl Ada. Thank you so much to all my returning subscribers for tuning in to watch me or to listen to this video. Thank you guys. And if you're new to this page, thank you so much for stopping by. Spend a second of your time to hit the like button, okay? And if you do find this content interesting and you want to know more, so hit the subscribe button, turn off the notification, so each time when I post a video, you will be notified and you'll be among those who get to see it first, okay? So today I am actually quite excited because this is like a little bit of good news, okay? Like it's a ray of hope to all the nurses who are actually still hoping or trying to migrate to Australia through the New Zealand route, okay? So I've talked about this a lot on my channel. I have videos about like the migration process to Australia. I have videos going through the New Zealand route. And if you don't already know, from 4th of December, the law came into place where you can no longer just, do your documentations and become a New Zealand registered nurse. Now you have to do like a theoretical exam and then an OSCE. So that was like a huge blow to some persons who would love to do this process. They just, a lot of persons were, they were disappointed because they got to know about it late. Some persons felt like hopeless, like, oh, there was no point. Maybe I would just go and do straightly to Australia and all that and all that. But guys, hold on. I will bring out good news, okay? So today I've brought you some good news because now on the website, they have put in something which might be a form of good news for all the nurses who have been registered in UK, in USA, in Ontario, Canada, in Singapore, okay? You see these countries I've mentioned, there is a ray of good news for you, okay? So there's something to give you hope, all right? So please do watch this video to the very end to find out exactly what I'm talking about and how you can go about this process to still help you get registered in New Zealand and probably get registered in Australia as an Australian registered nurse in a very short while, guys. You can do this process actually in less than 6 months, okay? That was the beautiful thing about going through the New Zealand process, and then of course cost effective, okay? If the whole process will not cost you that much, but if you were to do Australia directly, guys, asking in Australia alone is over $4,000. You're not even talking of all the other things and the traveling expenses and all that. No, the cost, if for nothing, the cost alone is a huge reason why you want to pass through New Zealand, okay? So watch this video to the very end. I'll be spilling all the tea on how it might be easier for you, okay? So let's dive right into it. Now, NMC New Zealand has updated their website with the new requirements and the new process and everything you have to go through to get registered as a nurse in New Zealand. There is also like a notification there to let you know that you just have to be a little bit patient because of the flood of persons who actually sent in the application trying so hard to beat the 4th of December deadline, okay? So if you're doing this now, you just have to be a little bit patient, but ideally this was not supposed to take you more than 3 months to complete. Hopefully the backlog will be cleared and then you'll be able to do your applications in a more straightforward way, okay? I'll be reading out like the new requirements for this application and what you have to do with it, and I'll be also leaving the link at the end of this video. I would also be putting up some of these things on the screen just so you see. We're going to go straight first into the CGFNS registration and then of course the NMC registration, okay? So the first thing which you need to complete your CGFNS registration, of course, is your identity. Of course, you do need one form of identification, which could be a passport, like an international passport, a driver's license, and then you can also bring in like a birth certificate, marriage certificate, divorce certificate, and a legal name change. But I would always advise you, if you are married, please try to use your marriage certificate as one form of your identification. So you can always use like your international passport and then your marriage certificate. And the reason being that it saves you the whole stress of back and forth trying to like bring change of name of affidavit and all that. So you might want to use your marriage certificate if you're married, but if not, it's okay if you want to use like a driver's license and then your international passport. So that's it for the identification. The next requirement from CGFNS is your language requirement. Now they can accept the OET or the IELTS, okay? So for the IELTS, you're expected to have have like a minimum score of 7, both in your reading, in your speaking, in your listening, but then you are allowed to have like a 6.5 in your writing. Okay, for the OET, allowed to have a minimum score of 350 for the reading, speaking and listening, and then it's allowed for you to have like a 300 score for the writing. That is what it is for the English language requirements. But something else, if you have practiced in the UK, if you have practiced in Singapore, in Ontario, or some of all these other countries, okay, this process will be waived for you. You don't have to go back to write again, because they are fully aware that before you were able to practice in the UK, you must have done like your proof of English language. So at some point you must have written like the IELTS. So you will be sent an email. This doesn't happen automatically. So when you're filling the process, go ahead and just put in like your old results, and then you'll be sent an email to waive the English language requirement. Okay, so don't worry about that. You're going to waive in that part off. And the next process, of course, is your current registration. Before you can register as an international nurse in the New Zealand, you must be registered. So either in the UK, in Singapore, in Ontario, somewhere, you just have to have like a nursing registration, because now they'll be requiring like a proof of registration from one of these NMC bodies where you're registered. So that's the third requirement from CGFNS. And then the next requirement will be the post-registration experience. Okay, so to be registered as a nurse in New Zealand, you're expected to have practice for at least 1,800 hours. If you're to calculate this by 37.5, this is like nearly 2 years of practice. So it's expected that at least you have practiced for more than a year. So if you don't have any work experience, don't even bother like applying. Is written here in bold. It says if you have no post-registration experience at all, you are not eligible to apply for registration with the nursing council. So don't even bother. If you're just a school leaver, get a job, okay, work for a while before you can go ahead to apply. Some persons have asked me, they'll be like, I'm in the UK for 1 year, can I apply? This is your answer. Okay, can you apply? That would be exactly what you need for your CGFNS. Once you've done all this, you've submitted and all, of course, you'll be expected to bring your references, which now you have to do self. You just have to list them out and you self-upload. Your transcript is not listed here because now you can self-upload your transcript as well. So if you already do have your transcript with you, you don't have to go to your school. All you have to do is go to a post office, notarize it. It's around £6 for a page. If you're in the UK, notarize it and upload your referencing as well. You also don't have to even go to your managers. You just have to list out where you've worked and then self-upload, and then you sign an attestation stating that this is true and right. Okay, so that's like all you need to do for the CGFNS. And then CGFNS is going to go through all this which you've submitted, and if they are happy with it, they will send back to you to cross-check before they forward it to NMC. Okay, in this video I'm not talking about the cost. I've done videos about the cost and everything. I can leave the link to those parts of the video for you. Okay, now we have come down to NMC stage. This is where all the gist is. Okay, so listen well please, because there's been a lot of things going on, you know, a lot of changes have taken place. So this exactly is where you need to pay particular attention to. So the first thing there is the competence to practice. Okay, I'll be leaving the link, exact link to this site and this page on the description part of this video. At the end of the video, click on it, go through it over and over before you send in your application. You don't want to pay your money and then you're just waiting in the queue and nothing is coming back to you. Okay, now under the competence to practice, you must be able to demonstrate that you are competent to practice in New Zealand. The council requires a nurse who is registered overseas to complete a competence assessment before we can grant New Zealand registration. So if you hold current registration in the UK, in Ireland, in Ontario, in British Columbia, in Singapore, or the USA, your application will be assessed by the council and you may not be required to undertake the below examinations. Guys, I'm going to read that back again. If you hold current registration in the UK, in Republic of Ireland, in Ontario, in British Columbia, in Singapore, or the USA, your application will be assessed by the council and you may not be required to undertake the below examinations. So when you go back down, you will see what they mean, the below examinations. They're talking about the theory exams and the competence exams and then the OSCE exams. But if you have practiced in these countries, which I have just listed out, and you do have at least 1,800 hours post-qualification, you might not be needed to take that following exam. So this is like a good news to anybody who is still looking to undergo this process. Okay, you might be exempted from that part. That is what it means. But then there is a clause to it. It says you will be assessed by the council and then decided if you are going to be exempted or not. Okay, so I think it's like the ball seems to be in your court. Now the council is going to assess you based on what you've submitted. So if you're able to prove to them that you've actually worked in the UK well, you're able to submit like proper references, you're able to submit areas where you've worked, you have enough hours, over 1,800, you've had enough work experience, and you're able to submit like an accurate transcript that sort of reflects their own learning and their own teaching standard, I'm sure you'll be exempted, because that is what it says. You may not be. So we all know that when you get to this point, you'll be assigned a case manager that sort of determines what happens going forward. Okay, so then your case manager definitely will come back to you to let you know that if you are exempted or if you're not exempted. But the summary of this gist, guys, is the fact that if you're still looking to relocate to Australia through the New Zealand route, this is the time for you to go ahead with the process. Okay, don't give up. Don't say, oh, all hope is lost, there's no point doing it. Please just go ahead and do it. All right, go ahead and do it. You will be exempted. You may be exempted. I don't want to put words into your mouth, okay, but you may be exempted. I'm sure of it. That's good news. That's good news. That's something to give you hope. Go ahead and submit your application. For all those who have been asking me in the last few weeks about what to do now, go ahead and do your application. And for those who haven't practiced in the UK and all these other countries, who will definitely have to do the exams, this is what you will be expected to do. It's theoretical and clinical exam process. So from 4th of December 2023, an internationally qualified nurse who applies to New Zealand to become a registered nurse and who is required to undertake an assessment of competence will need to successfully complete the following: an online theoretical exam that tests nursing knowledge, taken at an accredited exam center overseas or in New Zealand. So there are going to be centers outside New Zealand for the theory part of it. And then a 2-day orientation and preparation course followed by a 3-hour examination known as OSCE. And this will take place in New Zealand. So what it means is that the center for the OSCE right now, it's only going to be in New Zealand. So it's going to be super expensive, I know, because then you're talking about the travel costs, you're talking about your accommodation costs, you're talking about a whole lot of things. So this is the reason why persons panicked about this news and people sort of gave up. They were like, there's no point. What is going to be for anybody who hasn't practiced in those other countries, okay? So you have to travel to New Zealand to do your OSCE. Well, that's in addition to the other 2 online competence assessments which you have to do, which is the Ngaparewa Titiriti Module 1 and the Foundations in Cultural Competence. Okay, these other 2 are free. You don't have to pay any other thing, but you have to pay for those other big ones. But before then, you come down to do this one. I'm sure you have to do the first big ones, which is the theory and the OSCE. And after all this, you will be given like an invitation to go ahead and do like a criminal background check, which they do have a body to do that for you. Follow the link and then they will do that for you, and also send their results to the NMC New Zealand. Okay, so this seems to be the updated process of application to register as a New Zealand registered nurse. I do hope this video is helpful for you. If you haven't hit the like button, please do hit the like button, and please subscribe to this girl, you know. And don't forget to share this video to anybody who is in the process or who got stuck because of the new law, or who is thinking of what else to do, what way to go forward. Guys, please do this. Go ahead and do it. I'm sure you will love it in Australia. You definitely do. Don't get discouraged at this point. Go ahead and do this. Okay, so this is what I have for you today, and I do hope to see you in my next video. And until then, I do hope you have a pleasant day. Bye for now.